Hi everybody, this is Charlie Hagan from My Beatles Collection on Facebook, and here we are today on YouTube, on air, My Beatles Collection. Today I'm going to talk about maybe one of my favorite bootleg CD box sets ever. This one has the famous Not For Sale cover from one of the best bootlegs ever. This is what the back of the box looks like. I've taken all the CDs out, and you can see that what it says on the end there, 24-bit remastered audiophile CDs. There's 15 CDs in this set. The box is a little flimsy, I'll give you that. Actually, the covers are a little flimsy too, but they're shiny and bright and nice. The first one is Not For Sale. This is one of the most famous, highest quality bootlegs ever. It has a nice mix of songs. One After 909, Cats Walk, Bad to Me, How Do You Do It, Leave My Kitten Alone, If You Got Trouble, Shout, great one. It's got a medley. Love Me Do, Please Please Me, From Me to You, She Loves You, I Want to Hold Your Hand. That was from Around the Beatles TV show in 1964. It has Yes It Is, Paperback Writer, Your Mother Should Know, Birthday. And these are all alternate tracks. These are not the officially released versions of these songs. So, so for example, Birthday is the basic vocal tracks. Next one is Goodbye. That's Paul doing Goodbye, which he gave to Mary Hopkin. I've Got a Feeling, I Me Mine, A Day in the Life. This happens to be take 6 of A Day in the Life. Tomorrow Never Knows, Strawberry Fields Forever, a demo of that, takes 2 through 7. Revolution, take 5. Your Blues from Rock and Roll Circus, A Case of the Blues, a demo, and Across the Universe, take 8. So a really great bootleg. And so this box set replicates on CD. A lot of bootlegs that were famous on their own and did well. So this is what the Not For Sale CD looks like. This is a silver CD, not a CDR. I don't think it's a CDR anyway. It certainly doesn't sound like or look like one. So that's what the inner sleeve looks like. And that's the other side of the inner sleeve. So that's just one disc. I'm not going to take them all out, but I'm going to show you each one. Then you get Ultra Rare Trax. A real famous one. This is volume 1 and 2. On the back, they show you the series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually have another set that's just Ultra Rare Trax, and it goes deeper into that. But this is a nice taste of Ultra Rare Trax if you don't have a copy of that. They were on vinyl initially, and they were on individual CDs. And here they are combined 2 at a time. But there are some bonus tracks on these as well that were not on Ultra Rare Trax. So that's good to have. And here's Ultra Rare Trax 3 and 4. And here they show you what the original covers looked like and what the songs were. So this is later stuff. Obla Di Obla Da, Tomorrow Never Knows, Day in the Life. Of course, they're all alternate tracks that were not the release tracks. Here's Ultra Rare Trax 5 and 6. Again, these would cost you a fortune if you found the original versions of these. It would take you a long time if you could find them. It cost you a fortune. These are great replicas of pretty famous bootlegs. This is another fairly famous one. Strawberry Fields Forever was the name of this bootleg, also known as Nothing Is Real. It's got a bunch of stuff from the Strawberry Fields era, including All You Need Is Love and Fool on the Hill and Inner Light. And there's, there's at least 8 or 10 versions or different takes of Strawberry Fields Forever. There's an early take of Hey Jude and Revolution. And even Christmas Time Is Here Again. That was it. I happen to have that one on vinyl. I don't have all of these on vinyl, but I happen to have that one. This was one of the first Get Back / Let It Be bootlegs that came out years ago. Had a very simple cover at the time. It just had the words "Come Back," typed on it. Here they've written it on it, and this is the Glyn Johns acetate. So the original version of what was to be the Get Back album, and it of course it has Teddy Boy on it because that was a song Paul was working on as part of what was to be the Get Back LP. And it's got early versions of Long and Winding Road and Let It Be and Don't Let Me Down. It has The Walk on here, which didn't make the final. It has Rip It Up, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. That didn't make the final. It's got Kansas City, Miss Ann and Lordy, Miss Claudie. Blue Suede Shoes, Really Got a Hold on Me. This is the stuff that they were goofing around in the studio. Most of it's not, most of those types of things are not complete songs, and some of them, frankly, don't sound very good. But, it was great to see this at the time. This is one of the early bootlegs from the Get Back sessions. And at the time, if you were a collector, you had to find that album right there. I mean, it was a given. This is another famous one. This is the original name and cover for the White Album, what became the White Album, but at this point in time, it was going to be called the Doll's House. And so this has a bunch of alternate unreleased tracks. These are all stereo. They're all remastered, by the bootleggers themselves. And some of the stuff that didn't make the album, like George's Sour Milk Sea, made it on here. They were working on Across the Universe, so that's on here. What's the New Mary Jane, otherwise known as Mary Jane Had a Pain at the Party. You probably know that one, right? There's The Way You Look Tonight, Down in Havana. There's a Studio Jam, that's the name of it. There's one I can't say because it's I can't say that word on YouTube. Something about a ducky. There's a couple of versions of While My Guitar Gently Leaps, so on. So that was another great bootleg. Kind of hard to find, but they're all here in this box set. So I love that they did this. The next three are called Abbey Road tapes, and in this case, you get multiple versions of the same song. So, like for example, on this third one, you'll see how many takes of A Day in the Life. So you get to hear how they built up these songs and how they progressed over time, and a lot of them went like from almost unlistenable, unfinished. Still had chord changes that had to be finalized, certainly lyrics that had to be finalized, that sort of thing. But if you like that kind of stuff, this stuff is great, for that. So there's three of these, and these are all double. So there's 2 CDs in each of these. So this is 6 CDs in this 3 here. And then there's one here called White Acetates, and this is the White Album again. I forget, I think this is the issue demos that made the White Album box set, the bonus stuff. I think this is primarily that stuff. I have not listened to this particular version, I confess. A lot of this stuff I have in other sources, or I have it on vinyl, or I have it, somewhere else. I haven't actually listened to this specific CD. And this is a single CD, but it's all White Album stuff. This may be the most famous of all bootlegs, because this was going to be a real album. The Sessions album was going to be a real album, and the single from it was going to be Leave My Kitten Alone. And they actually printed a picture sleeve here in the U.S. Capitol, / Apple, produced a picture sleeve for Leave My Kitten Alone, and that was to be the lead single from this album called Sessions. And it had alternate versions of popular songs, and it had some stuff that hadn't been released at that point in time, a few of which ultimately made the anthology. So this has Come and Get It, which Paul, wrote for Badfinger. It has Leave My Kitten Alone. It has George's Not Guilty, which never made it onto an official album, but it was pretty much completed. It did later make a George Harrison solo album many years later, but here it is in George's Beatles form. I'm Looking Through You before they had the bridge. This is one with the hand clapping in it. I don't know if you've heard that. It has What's the New Mary Jane, otherwise known as Mary Jane Had a Pain at the Party. I say that every time. It has How Do You Do It, which was the Jerry and the Pacemakers hit that George Martin wanted them to record, and they did not want to release it. So they recorded it, but they never released it, and here it is officially released for the first time on what would have been an official album called Sessions. Then for some reason, they scrapped the album. They later went to the Beatles Rarities, and some of the stuff made the Rarities, and some of it didn't, and this is actually a better album than the Rarities album, in my opinion. It's got Besame Mucho, One After 909, the original One After 909. It's got If You Got Trouble, which made the anthology album. That Means a Lot, which made the anthology album. It's got the acoustic version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Mailman, Bring Me No More Blues. It's got a medley of Obla Di Obla Da with Christmas Time Is Here Again. And then there's those were stereo. There's 13 tracks that are stereo, and then there are the same 13 tracks in mono. That's also on the same CD. So Sessions was a great one. But somebody decided later on that they could remix and remaster and revise. So this was also called Sessions. This is not the model for what was going to be released. This is the cover and the record that was going to be released that got canned. But this is the second version, primarily that the bootleggers did, and it's pretty much got the same stuff on the back there, and it's also half half stereo and half mono. And then there was a guy named John Barrett. You might have heard of the John Barrett tapes. John Barrett went into the studio and he was chronicling everything that they had done, and he was recording this stuff. And somehow it got out into the bootleg world. It came out in some names, the John Barrett tapes. By the time it came out, John Barrett was dead. So there's also a bootleg version called Turn Me On Dead Man. Wow, what a creative title. But anyway, that's what the bootleggers have no shame. So Turn Me On Dead Man is another version of these. And this is 2 CDs. So that's what the cover looks like on CD 1. And that's what the cover looks like on CD 2. On the first one, it's stuff all over the place. They do show, a picture of what one of the bootlegs might look like. And this has She Loves You, and This Boy has 3 versions of That Means a Lot. Has 3 versions of Penny Lane, a couple of versions of From Me to You, a couple of versions of Thank You Girl. Step Inside Love, which Cilla Black did, but this is a Beatles studio work through of that. The Way You Look Tonight, which was them just kind of goofing around. Old Brown Shoe was on here. All Things Must Pass, as worked on by the Beatles, not just George. Of course, George had a lot of trouble getting his stuff put on a Beatle album, so he didn't get to put that on, and maybe we should be thankful, because it might have got buried on a Beatle album, but it became an album, obviously, called All Things Must Pass. So that's great. And this is the last one. And this has How Do You Do It? It has a couple of versions of One After 909. It has Leave My Kitten Alone, If You Got Troubles, That Means a Lot. Actually, 3 versions of If That Means a Lot. 3 versions of Norwegian Wood. 2 versions of I'm Looking Through You. Not Guilty is on this one as well. What's the New Mary Jane made it on here too. Come and Get It made it to this one. There's a version of Blue Suede Shoes. Mailman, Bring Me No More Blues. So this is another single CD. So that is the stack of CDs. There's 4, 8, 12. There's 15, but as you remember, there were 3 of them that were double. So there's 18 CDs in 15 covers that wind up in this box. I think it's great. If you have a chance to find one, don't be fooled just by the cover, because, you know, that cover is famous for one single album called Beatles Not For Sale. But if you see it without Not For Sale and it's in a box, it's all these CDs. I don't know if you can find these. You know, I buy this stuff when I see it. I'm not afraid to pull the trigger, and I get them. And then, you know, a month later or a year later, they're gone. You're not finding one other than maybe prying it away out of somebody else like me, my hands. So, you know, if you see it, I can't even tell you what it might cost now for this. I'm guessing it might cost $100 or maybe more. You know, it is 18 CDs. So even if you think, you know, $5 to $10 a piece, you're looking at, you know, $100 to $180 or something like that. It is very well done. It sounds very good. I showed you the CD before. They don't look like CDRs to me. They look factory silver pressed. You know, some bootleggers have access to, you know, actual factories. So that's it for that one today. And if you like this video, please hit the like button in YouTube. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. That's okay too. If you want to say how much you like it, or you want to say how much you dislike it, use the comment field. Also, if you saw something across the room here that you'd like me to get into more depth on a future video, I'd be happy to do that for you. I have a lot of box sets that people haven't seen the inside of. They might have just seen it in a store. Like, oh, I wonder what's in that. I showed one in an earlier video that there's only 300 of. I showed that in an earlier video. I mean, it's a great box. You know, if you want to see what's in that box, you have to look at the old video, because I'm not going to do it again. But anyway, I'm glad you joined us today, and I hope to see you again. And please like or dislike. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.